Once again, we're out in space and letters are coming at us. Boy, they know how to get us Superman fans. We're in space and words are flying at us. And then we're in Argo City. I will say this Argo City does better than the one in the comics because Argo City survives the explosion of Krypton, fully intact, as like a chunk. And in the comics, Argo City does die. It lasted just a few years longer than the rest of Krypton, just long enough for Zor-el to go, yeah, my brother had the right idea. I'm going to shoot my kid off to Earth. Here, Argo City seems like it's going to be able to float forever, as long as Peter O'Toole doesn't let kids play with the most dangerous object.
This weird thing that David Odell came up with.
The Omegahedron.
Yeah.
It's a MacGuffin. It's a magical MacGuffin. But he's an artist / leader of this colony. And they clearly must have been the arts community of Krypton because they're not dressed like an...
I was going to say they're a Kryptonian hippie commune.
Yeah. They are a hippie commune. And there's some color to their costumes, and the rest of Krypton was all just white and the black signs and everything. And Kara's just wandering around all happy, and Peter O'Toole's like, I've been thinking a lot about Earth. She goes, where my cousin was sent? And he goes, yes, you know all about it. Well, it's a wonderful place, and I've heard about trees and horses and shit. And she's like, that's great. And he goes, here, I want to talk to your parents. You go play with these powerful objects.
Yeah.
The Omegahedron, I guess, is an energy source, but it also seems to create what you need or what you can think of. It responds to what people want when they hold it or some kind of shit.
Yeah.
He's like, go ahead. You have an imagination, Kara. Go make a dragonfly or something.
Put your fingers here, Kara, and press hard.
And what's his name? Zoltar?
Zoltar, yeah.
And again, I just think that's just someone, Mr. Odell was just like, give me a sci-fi name. It's not about trying to be Kryptonian. They could have made it Zoltar or whatever, but no. His name is just Zoltar.
He's basically like a slightly tipsy Obi-Wan Kenobi in this movie.
It's a fancy shadow of the real thing, which is the most we can hope for on this lonely old rock.
I think slightly tipsy you can add in front of any role Peter O'Toole does. And then basically, she accidentally, with the Omegahedron created dragonfly, pokes a hole in there.
In the saran wrap that's protecting.
I know. It's like, uh-oh, Kara Zor-el just messed up the greenhouse.
Kara, the power source!
And she literally gets sucked to the hole, and she's like, oh no, help us. And then Zoltar's like, God damn it, you just lost the power source. We're all going to die now, but it's my fault because I let you play with it. And he seals the thing up, and he's like, we're probably all going to die because the Omegahedron's gone. The only way to get it back, because we set this up, I was talking to Karzal, is this thing. What do they call it? I mean, the device goes into something like
he describes it in the first conversation he has with her, but it didn't stick in my head because he says, I'm going to travel
I'm going to go to Earth
galaxy.
too.
I'm going to go to Earth, or maybe not Earth, maybe Saturn, whatever.
Venus or Saturn, right.
I don't believe you. How?
And he goes, in there, through that, or something like that.
Yes.
In that, through that.
Zip, zap.
Zip, zap, and I'm gone.
It has some name like the binaural highway or some kind of nonsense.
It's some one-off. I mean, there's one. They can only be used once. Apparently, they only have one of them. But this is where they reveal the interesting thing about this version of Argo City. It's not in outer space. It's in inner space.
Saturn and Earth are in outer space, but we are in inner space.
Right. And you can tell that because it's actually inside the body of Martin Short.
I'm not a man. Hello, can you hear me? I'm possessed!
Dennis Quaid is actually piloting Argo City.
Yeah.
Actually, I haven't watched Inner Space in years. I should rewatch it. I love that movie.
I got to wonder how many people watching this were like, what the hell is going on? Because she travels through, as she leaves Argo City, and if they were paying attention to the dialogue, maybe they could have figured out, but it's a really, I immediately when I heard that, I was like, oh, like the microverse or
something like that.
Your mother saved thousands of lives that day, knowing she'd be lost in the quantum realm.
And I think audiences now if they've watched Ant-Man, are much more prepared for this concept than audiences were in 1984.
Right. That's how they escaped the explosion of Krypton, is somehow they went into inner space.
So it looks like she's traveling through space in the same kind of way that Kal-El did. There's these weird amorphic things.
And she spends conservatively 15 minutes as an actress looking like, oh, while they light her with different lights. Because, ooh, look over there, some cosmic explosion. Ooh. I felt so bad for her.
And so then she emerges from a lake in Midvale, Illinois.
Yep. I think that maybe somehow and it's bullshit too, because the Omegahedron seems to have just gone through space, even though it left in inner space, because then it comes down like a comet and plops into like some fucking cheese dip that Faye Dunaway and Peter Cook have on their
that's right,
their picnic. So that's how the Omegahedron shows up. She actually finishes coming up, but through the lake. All of this is in Midvale, Illinois. So I guess maybe the ship she was in was trying to follow the trajectory of the Omegahedron, because they end up coming to Earth within like half a mile of each other.
Right.
Something like
this is another goofy thing about this whole device, is that ship the ship that takes her to Earth.
Goofy about it.
Yeah, I'm sorry to say. The ship that she's in, that Zaltar was planning, because he was saying, I'm going to make this right. I'm going to get in the ship. I'm going to go retrieve it. And I'll come back. She gets in the ship that he was planning to use. And you can see it's got some colorful blankets in it, just like Kal-El's ship for some reason. But this was a ship that he was planning to use. Why does the costume she winds up with have the House of El?
Known. You're so dumb, Chad. Everybody knows that if you're a Kryptonian going to Earth, you end up in something that looks like Superman's outfit. That may not be what you started in, but you're going to end up going like, what the fuck? I've got a cape.
So in some alternate history, there's Zaltar shows up on Earth in the same outfit.
That would be the best.
With the miniskirt and everything.
With the
zip zap.
Zip zap.
All right, so Supergirl wins and essentially breaks up with everybody. Basically, Linda Lee is like, it was a pleasure, Lucy. Have a good life. Jimmy Olsen, nice to meet you. Tell Clark I said hi. Hey, Hart Bachner, we're never going to do it. Gotta go. And he's like, it's okay. And he goes, and your secret's safe with me. He figured it out. She flies away, and he goes, goodbye, Linda Lee.
No magic kiss necessary.
No magic. He's just going to keep the secret. Maybe Lois could have done the same. But anyway, she flies off, and then the implication is she said, bye, Earth. She goes back to Argo City, and then you see the lights outside of Argo City like popping on because she's restored the energy.
Well, let's not forget how she gets back to Argo City, which is flying back into the lake.
Is that a problem? Again, I don't know what your deal is.
That's why I just wonder what audiences were thinking. Like, what the hell? Why they live at the bottom of a lake?
You know what audiences were thinking? They were thinking this is bad.